Drew. Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to A Minute with Drew. Today I'm going to talk about a really interesting tidbit of news that I found pretty intriguing, and you will too if you're into synths at all. So Behringer, the company known in the synth world for making copies of old synths that actually stand up pretty good to the originals, was just declined the Oberheim trademark name for their upcoming synthesizer release. Now if you follow synthesizers at all, you'll know the Oberheim name for the famous synths like the OBX, which was famously used on the most overplayed synth line of all time, Van Halen's Jump. Now Behringer has already announced their Oberheim clone, the UBXA, a clone of the OBXA, so it'll be very interesting to see how they go about promoting and branding their new synth while also not being able to use the Oberheim name. And of course this would all change if Behringer appeals the declined trademark and gets it back, but either way it'll be really interesting to see how this all pans out. So today on the show, Jack interviews Dylan from Dylan Talks Tone, a YouTube channel with over 51,000 subscribers. He also makes some pretty sick pickups. Hope you guys enjoy the interview. See ya!
Hey guys, another episode of Gear Guys. I haven't turned the lights out yet, which is amazing. We have a special show lined up for you today with Dylan from Dylan Talks Tone and Dylan Pickups. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, we're going to go through a bunch of stuff. Before we get started, I just need to let you know this is a Deco Entertainment presentation of Gear Guys podcast. If you're not familiar with Deco Entertainment, it's a record label based out of New Jersey, and we got a ton of great artists on our roster. Plus, if you need vinyl pressed or any of your traditional merchandising or marketing needs, we can handle it for you. I'd also like to thank Novell. Novell is a leader in fine jewelry, been servicing the United States and pretty much worldwide since 1988, specializing in wedding and engagement, but they're also letting me cast guitar parts. So here's the cool things, folks. If you screwed up with your lady or your significant other and you're buying a guitar and you need to offset that balance, our customer service representatives, we have an algorithm that can tell you how much you got to spend. So reach out, novellglobal.com, give me a call through Gear Guys. We'll make that work for you. So let's just dive right in. Dylan, how the hell you been, bro? I mean, we talk on Facebook all the time, but what's up?
I've been good. Busy. Good. Very good.
That's fantastic. Yeah, a lot of folks are getting hit or miss with what's going on with COVID. You've had a very big personal change in your life with your living situation, and it's probably the most obvious. You're coming to us from an RV. What the hell, dude? Dylan's Pickups is mobile.
Yeah, man. Actually, it was a year ago this weekend that we bought this thing and moved into it full time, and kind of took the show on the road. I've been building pickups for a long time, but we just thought, pickup parts are small and my wife's job is all internet based. And we're like, the kids are grown. Let's just go have some fun. Let's make pickups. Let's meet some people in the industry. Of course, before COVID, the idea was I'm going to drive around and meet some people and do some shop tours. And we'll get into the YouTube channel later, but I thought, why not just live the life and make stuff and meet people and obviously that changed with the way the world is right now, but it's still fun and we're still having a blast and we're still making pickups.
Dude, I'm so jealous. I'd love if I could just pick up my place and move when my neighbors piss me off, because that would be the best thing ever. But let's dive into the geeky stuff. And that's why people are listening to this show is you make some wonderful pickups and they're very specific to, I don't want to say a type of genre, but you really don't dive into a lot of these modern pickups with the hum canceling for singles. And you're pretty much traditional on the way you wire things. And I'm a fan of it. I'm not a fan of silent pickups. I'm a fan of getting that 60 cycle hum when you're out on the stage, because I think it adds character and dynamic when you have a single coil. But why don't you walk us through what you make, what separates your design from everyone else's?
Yeah. So we're kind of actually in the middle with that. I have this theory that we've kind of acted on over the last few years where I feel like a lot of the traditional things that were done in the 50s, technology has moved on from that. And I am 100% convinced, and our products show it, that you can have fantastic sounding vintage style pickups, but made with modern materials. We don't go looking for the new old stock junk from the 50s. We use stuff that you can buy on the shelf today. It only makes sense for costs and all that kind of stuff, but we figured out a way to, like our DAF, for example, is a fantastic PAF copy that sounds properly vintage for those vintage guys, but it's made with stuff that I can actually get. There's no unobtainium in this stuff. And then we've got a couple of specialty pickups that I'm really proud of. Our center punch pickup, you can coil split it and the volume doesn't drop. Like that's a huge thing. And then we've got, obviously some pickups that I'm really personally proud of, our P90s and our Tele stuff. So the idea is I want to give you a good sounding guitar that you don't have to be that vintage snob to be able to play. So, bringing that kind of stuff to even younger players that, many of these really like exclusive vintage recreation brands may be unobtainable to them. So we're, vintage stuff for the normal guy, if that makes sense. That's for everyday guy, for the everyday gig and musician. So
Well, that I have I shouldn't say I have it in my possession anymore. I lent the guitar. It's a Paul Reed Smith SE1, the student edition that I picked up just to do a 25-inch scale junior, because I don't like the way Les Paul is, fighting the G note to stay in tune with the way the headstock is. It's garbage to me. So I have one of your pickups in it, and I wired it on a momentary kill switch, and it one volume, one tone. I lent it to an artist, and I haven't gotten it back yet.
yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get it back. I think he's just going to say, this is mine now. And, let me do some work to pay it off. And that's what we'll do. But yeah, it was one of my favorite instruments, and you just do such a great job. And for those that play P90s know this, there's a bark and there's a growl, and then there's a bark and a hiss and a growl. And, the undesirable tones you get from vintage pickups, these sound as close to a vintage Gibson as you can get, but I don't get any of those squeals or those, undesirable tones that come through the amp. So I'm sold. I love the magic you put in that.
Yeah, that if I'm remembering that's got a dog ear P9, one of our dog ear P90s in it.
No, it wasn't dog ear. It was just the,
Oh, the
the
soap
regular
bar?
soap bar.
The soap bar?
Yeah, you did 10%,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
underwound.
Those so I, obviously I stand behind anything we make. But there is one pickup that I brag about in particular, and it is because for two reasons. One, we make the best P90 in the world, number one. And number two, it's because it's my favorite pickup. I would have P90s in everything. It's like my favorite pickup. And they have to do a certain thing. You buy any Gibson P90 guitar or any P90 guitar, and I'm in the business of problem solving. So with those, my feeling is the newer ones, especially, you turn everything all the way to 10 and you put it on the neck pickup and it just turns into a big mud ball. There's no definition there, and it doesn't have that like honk of mid-range that, Joan Jett is like a hero of mine. Like I want that old school, gnarly mid-range kind of sound, and so that's what we did with that thing. But if you turn the volume down to 7 or 8, sweetens right up and gives you a whole nother thing,
Yeah.
so
And I wired it on the Mojo Tone pre-wired kit that has
Mhm.
the treble bleed on it.
Yep.
And it speaks so nice. It's so vintage with that. And I'm running it on so I'm crazy with the way I wire things. Just anybody listening will figure this out if you don't already. I'm running a 250K on the tone, but I'm running a 500K on the volume. And it gives me that little bit of, I don't want to say honk, but it gives
Mhm.
me that little bit that you won't get from a 500K pot. And I know some guys that just run it on a 1 meg right through and get that metal sound on a P90. But for me, the secret sauce is the pre-wired kit from Mojo Tone, 500, 250 with their treble bleed. And I think it's a Bumblebee. I think we went with the Bumblebee cap when I put that together. But it's just, it's one of those versatile instruments that you could bring it to a gig, and if every other guitar breaks, knock on wood, you can pick that up and use it and get away with it because you can control your instrument that much with it.
I have this whole kind of, I don't know, it's just a theory, and I say it a lot, like on our YouTube channel and stuff, that I think every person should own at least one single pickup guitar, like a Junior or an Esquire, for at least a little while, because I think it like makes you a better guitar player, because you have to do everything with that one pickup and those two knobs. Like if you play it into like a low wattage amp, like a, I don't know, maybe a Princeton or a Champ or something, or one of those 5 watt class 5 Marshalls or something like that, and no pedals, just volume and tone, one pickup. Like it teaches you a lot. Like you get to learn the dynamics of how guitars work and how the interactions of the electronics and stuff. And so that setup you have, that is killer. That's like my favorite thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's great.
my dream guitar actually.
Really?
Is a 59. I really want a 59 Les Paul double cut in TV yellow, like with one P90. Like that is my one dream guitar that I would like to own.
We're going to have to stop you right there. And we're going to say, folks listening to this that follows Dylan, he just asked you to go set up a fans only page, and I'll send you the video of him to raise money for this guitar. So we'll make that happen. Let's do it, guys. All right. So you mentioned earlier that you have a splittable humbucker that doesn't lose volume. Now, I don't want you to give away your secret, obviously, but for people listening to this saying, that's bullshit, that's not going to happen. Can you dive into a little bit of how, I don't want to say how you're able to do it because it is a secret and what you have is amazing, but tonal spectrum when you're playing, and some people don't look at volume this way, you have your frequency response. And the louder you go, if you're able to reduce some of those bass signals and bring up the treble a little bit, you can offset the volume because of the frequency response.
Right.
And Eric from Indigo told me that because my amp's only 20 watt amp and it'll outpower a 100 watt amp on stage because the way he dials that in. If the best you can explain how that works, because I know there's a ton of people out there that want that without the volume loss, and they don't like active pickups. And I think the only real option is something like what you do.
Yeah. So what we do with our center punch pickup is instead of, when you coil split a pickup, for those that are not maybe familiar, you coil split a pickup. Actually, we'll talk about it later, but next Tuesday's video, by the time this comes out, we have a coil split versus coil tap video coming out on our YouTube channel. So we'll chat about that later. But when you coil split a pickup, you're actually cutting half of it off. And what happens is when half of the pickup goes away, not only does the volume go away, but exactly like what you said, humbuckers have a nice little mid-range punch where, because of how humbuckers work, basically, without getting super technical. And so when you cut that away, the leftover single coil can sound very, very thin. And you want your Les Paul to now sound like a Strat. And it just doesn't happen because half of it is gone. And it just doesn't work that way. And so what we figured out a way to wind a humbucker, and basically what we do is the winds have to be relatively the same. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a humbucker. It wouldn't work right. But we have messed with wire gauges to get it to a spot where when you coil split the pickup, only about 30% of its power goes away. And so technically the volume does drop, but because everything is relative to the ear, instead of it going half away, it only goes a little bit away, and then you still have this nice mid-range poke, and so your ear does not perceive that volume drop as much. And so you can go right on playing, and what we've figured out is the coil that's left has enough inductance and resistance on it to imitate like a vintage Strat style sound. Now, when you put both of the coils back together, you end up with a little bit hotter pickup. It ends up being about 10K or so. It's Alnico 5. Yeah. but because the way they're wound, you have a nice mid-range punch still. So it's still very PAF-y. It's not high output. It's not muddy. It's got nice clarity. It's, to me, it's the best of both worlds. And what my clients have said over the years, and what I will tell you, if you could associate this with anything, is like, for instance, the JB and the Jazz. Like, that is a time-honored pair that goes together in a pickup, right? So in a guitar. So our center punch and our 8-ball, which is a ceramic version of the center punch, has been the number one replacement for JB and Jazz over the years. Like, if a customer calls back and they say, yep, I took a JB and a Jazz out and I put your center punch and your 8-ball in and it was perfect and I could coil split and no volume drop. So if you're wondering the neighborhood of where that lives, JB and the Jazz, only no mud. JBs can be a little muddy and Jazzes can be a little muddy. So no mud, good clarity, definition of notes, and no volume drop when you split it. It works awesome.
What about the Pearly Gates? You get into that territory?
Yeah. So we have a Pearly Gates style pickup that we call the Smoothie. And basically it's a variation of our PAF. It's a little bit hotter wound, which is exactly what a Pearly Gates is. And the wire gauge that we use gives it that little smoother top end, not quite as, that's why we call it the Smoothie. It's not quite as sparkly and jangly like a PAF, little smoother on top, which is what the Pearly Gates kind of does, that sort of territory.
Do you use Alnico 2, Alnico 3, or is it use the 5?
So I stick to 5s most of the time. The reason I do is because I like the way it compresses better than a 2 or a 3. And I know a lot of people, there are some people, and so I will do it. If you say, can you put 3s in it? I'll do it. Email me or whatever, I'll do it. But 3s give you, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but they give you that crunchier, fartier 5E3 kind of overdrive, or like a cut speaker, like Kinks kind of sound. And I don't like that. I like that clarity to be there a little bit more and to have everything a little bit more definable. So I'm more a fan. I default to Alnico 5 unless I'm doing something special.
That's great. Yeah, my thing is Alnico 2 in Pearly Gates, or I've purchased the Mojo Tone Classic in 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also use the Pearly Gates single coil size, which sounds nothing like the Pearly Gates itself. But when you do split it, it's a quiet split on one of the guitars I need that for. Like, don't get me wrong, I really don't like quiet pickups, but you need one in your arsenal if you go to a club and it's shit. So I have one of those in the neck of a Strat, but I use your P90, like I'll use Lindy Freyland's Blues, which is in my Reverend behind me, and there's a stacked P90 or a P90 with adjustable pole pieces and a Strat size in that as well. Like, having pickups, some guys will say, I'm only a Strat guy, I'm only a humbucker, man, you got to go out and do this. Like, one of the things I'm working with an artist with later tonight when we're done with this, I have a call with a group of young guys I'm working with, is understanding the tonal property differences when you're in a band. So when you're in a band, what Dylan's talking about right now may not sound like that much if you're just sitting at home, playing in your den, you go out on the weekends with guys and just jam. But if you're a working musician, what's going to separate your sound to give it that mastered feel and punch when you're on stage is understanding how the electronics carry through for that frequency signal that you're trying to get. So if you have two guys playing a 57 Strat separate, man, that's amazing. Together, you're going to mud up the signal. You're not going to be able to hear it. So by having a guitar with, a DAF in it, or an 8-ball, or with doing one of the P90s, and then getting the same guitar, not doing the same pickup, do an Alnico 3, do a different one. So when you get out to a gig, and say if you're, I'm a studio musician, I'm a session musician, I do all that stuff. So if I get there and they told me we want Stevie Ray Vaughan sound, and I'm looking at the rest of the band and everyone's got a Strat, well, that's not me, because I'm not going to get paid for doing my job. To figure out what that tonal property loss is and just I'm gonna fill that hole like Stevie Ray Vaughan would in that scenario.
Yeah, my buddy John talks about John Bollinger. He always says it in his videos and stuff
Name
that
drop.
sorry, yeah, that
He's great.
every
He's great.
I just think of him every time because there's this thing he says, and I really appreciate it, and I hope that more people understand it over time, is that every musician on the stage, including the drummer, including the keyboard player, including the singer, everybody out there occupies a certain sonic space. And so everybody has to fit into this overall sonic space. And so you, as a guitar player, you're playing at home, you know, in your home studio or in your living room or whatever, and you might sound a certain way. And then you get on stage and now all of a sudden you're fighting. It sounds piercing because you're fighting against the keyboard player, or it sounds all muddy because you're fighting against the bass player. You know, like everybody's got to occupy a certain sonic space, and you have to understand where that fits in and choose your gear, not maybe because it's your favorite pickup or your favorite guitar, but on this project, where do I fit in this puzzle for the good of the whole sound? And I don't think a lot of people spend a lot of time on that aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Like my favorite guitar to sit and play is obviously my signature guitar that was made 2013. I have an Austrian made Chili signature line. It's a Tele guitar, beautiful. Sitting at home playing that, man, I can write on for hours on that. You put me on a stage with it, 9 out of 10 times it's too much for what it's supposed to do, but it brings the artist out of me. And I will go to that Reverend. That Reverend right there is my workhorse, and the PRS SE1 is my workhorse. And I'm starting to really grow fond of that Moxie. Like Anthony gave that to me to try, and I keep saying it's time to give it back. And he knows what he's doing. He's a good salesman. He doesn't respond to it. You know, me saying it's time to bring this back. He's like, yeah, we'll talk later. So I'm growing really fond of that. And I'm kind of mad at him for letting me hold on to it for so long, because I'm probably going to take it off his hands.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's good at it, man. Those pickups are crazy in there too. I gotta send it to you if I take it off his hands for you to check it out. But it's just, you need so much variety and versatility if you're going out there working. And for those of us coming back online, and we're getting called for those wedding gigs, and we're getting called for those, you know, sitting with this band gig, you can't just show up with a Les Paul or a Strat. And if you do, you got to build something that's versatile. At one point in my professional career, I was so broke. I had one Strat, 10 pick guards. And the night before a gig, I would swap my pick guards out, and it would be just electrical taped together. And I pray it wouldn't fail on stage, but I wanted that paycheck. So this is an awesome thing to do. Why don't you run us through how long it takes for you to make from start to finish, and roughly, not a customized order, but what a standard order is. And you're making guitars now too, right?
Yeah, we are making a few. So on the pickup side of things, under normal circumstances, we are about 2 weeks. That is typically, and I tried to keep it right there. The way things are right now, and I really expected COVID to screw with my inventory like 6 months ago, and it did not. It is finally now, people are running out of things. It's hard to get parts. And so we are in the process of reconnoitering all that stuff. So things are a little bit slow right now, but I would say 2 to 3 weeks from start to finish. If you order from the website tonight, 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have it in your hands, which is, for a boutique pickup builder, I think that's pretty fast. I mean, I hear these horror stories of people, I've been waiting 3 or 4 months from these custom pickups from somewhere, you know, and man, I just wouldn't even feel right about that. So yeah.
Well, that's why you got Leslie picking up the slack. I saw she made a video.
Yeah. We have some things coming down the pipe that are going to make us a lot busier, I think, if they work out. And so I can't talk about them right now, but it could be huge for us. But I'm like, well, I guess you're going to have to learn how to wind, because it ain't going to just be me.
That's fantastic. And folks, that's his wife. He's putting his wife to work.
Yeah.
That's classy, man. That's classy.
Yeah.
I saw the videos. Her fingers were burning because she was holding the copper too tight.
She did good. And, you know, I didn't get to talk about it in the video, but because I don't want to make a big deal out of it or embarrass her or anything, but she's really good at everything she does.
Mhm.
And her first pickup worked. I mean, it actually,
No.
oh yeah, it actually worked. And so I would say give her another 3 or 4 hours of learning and she'll be right in there with me, man. She's going to be the next Abby Ibarra. You just watch.
You know, I heard that Seymour Duncan's wife winds a better pickup than he does. This is what someone told me, very prominent. Now, I'm not saying that's true. And Seymour, if you listen to this, I love your pickups, bro. But rumor has it that your wife, at one
I've
time,
I've talked to her about that, and I think she would say that too.
yeah,
She
you
wouldn't
better watch
say
out.
it, but
Yeah.
she wouldn't say it. But
I think Leslie will when she starts making better pickups on you. Watch
hey,
out.
man, I
Watch
know.
out.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it.
That's very cool. So, what does it cost to get into something?
So our single coils start at, or are, our single coils start at $99. We have our P90s, I think, are 109. We
You
have
do a
some,
loaded guard?
we do loaded guards. Yeah, I think they start at like 329. We do tons of those for a Strat. And it's cool too because you can go in there and like, I want a humbucker in the neck position and a humbucker in the bridge position, or I want two P90s or whatever. And I always tell people too, if there's something that you need for your guitar that you don't see on the website, just go to the little contact thing at the bottom of the website, shoot me an email, and I, I've got all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff that people have us do. Um, as long as the parts are in stock and it's not something, we don't 3D print stuff, but if you call me and you say, I want a pickup that's wound to whatever, and you don't see it on the website, or, I'd like something, as long as it's parts that I've got in stock, there's no harm in me, winding something custom for you. And I don't usually charge extra for that because it's just an extra 5 minutes or something to sit there and wind it a little hotter or whatever, no big deal.
That's awesome.
Which I think is rare too, because a lot of these, I get a lot of calls are like, I called this company or I called that company and they didn't have time for me. And I'm like, well, I understand, but I'll try to help you.
That's fantastic.
I want to see the weird stuff. I want people to have weird ideas and think outside the box. So if they call me with some crazy idea, I'm almost into it. Like, yeah, let's try that crazy thing you just, gave
Game
me this
on.
idea. Yeah.
Here's another challenge, folks.
Yeah, man.
We got to do another, like maybe a GoFundMe, and have the most bizarre pickup design and see if Dylan can do it. Maybe a tri-bucker, huh? That would be cool.
We have had requests for that, and I have done them. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I have done them. We've done I've done this double. We have a pickup on our website now that started as a crazy, actually, it was a guitar builder out of Tennessee, and he wanted something super hot.
Was that
So
Kevin?
yeah, it was Kevin. So we literally have a double blade humbucker with 4 ceramic magnets on the bottom, wound to like 15K. This thing is gnarly. And it's flat on the bottom so that it'll go into a real skinny guitar. Like, we've done crazy stuff like that, man.
Kevin's nuts, man. That's his bass
Yeah.
back there. He made me that 5-string.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a hell of a builder.
Yeah. So we do all kind of fun stuff.
Cool.
And,
All right, folks, just hang tight. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and we come back. We're going to learn how the hell did a pickup winder get over 50,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel in just about a year. Be right back.
Here at Novell Global, we are the industry leader in fine jewelry craftsmanship. Our handcrafted and custom designed rings, meticulously crafted from the finest precious metals, are perfect for all of your needs, whether that be for an engagement, a wedding, or for everyday fashion. All of our rings are made in America and have been since 1988.
All right, guys, we're back. Boy, we had a hell of a conversation when we were off that we can't tell you about. Nana doo, stick your head and poo poo. Cool shit happening though. So the second part of the show, we're not going to focus as much on Dylan's pickups, but his success as being a YouTuber to promote his business. And that's something that a lot of people in the music industry seem to forget, that YouTube, social media, it could be used to hurt you or it could be used to help you, and you're in control of that. A lot of artists I know a lot of artists, and some people just get really lazy. And being an artist is hard work. You got to think outside of the box. You got to put your thoughts into music. You got to deliver that thought with the music in a way people like it, and you got to market the hell out of it. So listen to what Dylan's saying. You may not agree with his tactics, his techniques. They're outside of the box for me. I've actually adapted some of the things that he's done to include what we're doing at Gear Guys and with Deco Entertainment. But listen, he's making a living doing it. Not off the monetization yet. I listened to your video. I watched it on the toilet. It was great. But to promote your brand. So I'm going to shut up. All you, bro.
Okay. So the way we market Dylan Talks Tone is about 6 years ago. We started a YouTube channel, and it started off with, actually, I think the first video we ever made was a demo of our center punch pickups and the technology behind it. And it's terrible. You can still go watch it on YouTube. Your first YouTube video is always terrible, but it doesn't matter. And so now I think we've got 700 videos. We do 3 video productions a week. On Tuesdays, we have like a techie video this coming Tuesday. So actually, by the time this is on the air, the most recent video that came out will be coil tap versus coil split, what the difference is. And then we actually wind a pickup on video and show you how a coil, single coil is tapped. And then we make the pickup, stuff like that, guitar setup kind of stuff. That's on Tuesdays. And then on Thursdays, we have a live Q&A. So people can get in the comments, or they can go to Patreon and ask questions ahead of time, stuff like that. Hey, I've got this guitar, it's got a problem, can you help me out with it? Like that sort of thing. That's on Thursdays. And then just for a creative outlet for myself, this is kind of more for me. I vlog all week, just with my camera, normal stuff, whatever. Sometimes it's RC car racing. Sometimes it's motorhome stuff. There's always some sort of valuable guitar content in it, though. And then we release a vlog on Fridays. So 3 video productions a week. And we've been doing that now for a long time. 700 videos in, man. It's a lot of work, but when
It's
you
about to
help,
pay off.
it is, yeah. And and when you help people or give them some sort of value, and build that relationship with people, then they really love what you do, and then they want to support you, and they buy our stuff, and so you put it all together. And I don't have a real job, I play with guitar stuff and I make videos for a living, and some weeks it's tons of shooting because the pickup business is a little slower, and some weeks it's like winding pickups from dawn till dusk for days after another, but it works awesome. It's I really, really love it. And I love shooting video. I love editing video. I love being on camera. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. I enjoy
There's
it.
another side of the aspect that a lot of people don't realize. And when they do YouTube, they're all about monetization. I'm going to make money because of ads, and bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So there's ways you can use your podcast. There's ways that you can use your whatever the hell it is you're doing to put yourself out. If it's a vlog, whatever it is, to monetize your business by making business connections. And I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people don't look at this is there's a lot of great YouTubers that are out there that are very entertaining. And I mean, who doesn't love Win? I mean, that guy is just phenomenal.
He's awesome.
Yeah. I watch Trology. I don't know if you're up on that, but this guy documents guitars.
Mhm.
There's so many great people out there for entertainment purposes that can show you how to use your instrument. And I encourage that. But what a lot of people don't do, well, I should say a lot of people try to emulate them. Guys, it's done. They do a great job. You're not going to get there. Maybe 1 out of a million. It's like being the lead singer of the new band. They lucked out. They did a great job and worked their ass off. And now they're their personality. But for yourself, you're representing your business, and your business is being an artist or a gear maker or whatever it is. Use that to build business relationships. For example, Dylan and I have been friends for a long time. Dylan is part of this Gear Guys Rebirth and writes a column for us. And we cross market each other on YouTube, on different platforms, as well as about 15 other companies that I've done business with throughout my career that we're exchanging information. We have an advisory board to find out what's best for artists next so we don't give you wrong information. YouTube and the internet, it's filled with shit ideas because people are throwing it out there. And the last thing you want to do is take advice from someone who's failed doing this. So when you see someone who's got 10 million views on YouTube, that's great. They may be a personality, they may be the product. If you're not the product, you can't use that business platform to launch your music career. You got to do it different ways. So when you were looking at what you were doing, your videos are very different than others people's. And that's why I really like it. You include stuff in the home. You used to do cooking, like a whole bunch of stuff that was just different, that everybody's like, all right, it's just not some schmuck, talking about guitars like what I do. So, what made you think outside the box to do this? What was your aha moment saying, wow, we're really doing well now?
So one of the things I will say about all of this is you have to be all in to the marketing side. And first of all, you have to realize that your art, no matter what it is a product, and you sell that product. And sometimes that product is you. Sometimes it's your face. Sometimes it's your voice. And the idea is that everyone is competing for time, for other people's time. And you just have to do whatever you can to capture a part of somebody else's time. And so what I tell people, what a lot of people don't know, is my wife and I also have a consulting business for helping people on social media. So this is kind of another little side hack of my thing. But what I tell people all the time is you have to do all the things all the time, every day. You can't just say, I'm going to be on Instagram. I'm going to be on Facebook. I'm going to be on TikTok. I'm going to be on YouTube. You have to do all those things all the time. And you have to come up with some sort of program so that you can capture somebody somewhere. And what we've figured out with cooking breakfast, because I eat a plant-based diet, so that's a little bit nichey. So what I figured out is cooking breakfast on a Facebook Live on a random day, that captures a particular audience. When we do our vlogs on Friday, that captures a particular audience who wants to know a little bit more about us. Tuesdays are for the nerds, man. Tuesdays is for the nerds. You don't know nothing about motorhomes, nothing about real life. Just this is guitar nerd stuff, So we do these things to present an entire picture of who I am and what we can give the world and the value we can give the world. And then we say, we have a product that we want you to buy. And I almost never actually say that. I almost never actually say, please buy this thing. Typically, I help people solve problems. I help people to, create whatever they want to create. And then they look a little deeper and realize, oh, you sell the thing that helps me to do that. I very rarely technically actually market my stuff in my videos. It's more about building the relationships. And what's crazy about that is the better you are at that, don't worry so much about how many views you got on a video of you singing your song on the internet, as much as you've made it when you get a message from somebody and they say, I saw a video from you 6 months ago and I loved it because of this. It's not the bajillion views, it's the one. And what I tell people is, and what I try to tell myself on the really slow days when I'm stressed out and when, oh man, Januaries are always slow and I only made this much money, or whatever, is the internet is so cool because you're always one click away from having an amazing day. You're always one click away from selling X amount of dollars worth of something and your entire month is good. You're always one click away from somebody like Jack seeing your video and signing you to a deal. You're always one click away. So you always have to be on. You always have to play. play to an empty room the same way you would play to 10,000 people, and just make sure that you realize that on the other side of that camera right there is a person that you are building a relationship with. And if you can do that, then the rest of it will come by itself. If you're concentrated on the product itself and selling and views, and I didn't get enough views this month and I didn't get enough likes on Instagram, you'll get lost in the minutia. But if you realize that that person on the other side of the camera is moved somehow by what you did, then you did your job. Then it's right. And that's what I try to do with my videos. It sounds stupid to say it in such a idealistic way when we're talking about capacitors and pots and stuff, but it's all about value to the person that's watching your stuff.
And that's why you're kicking ass, man. I mean, that right there, that's a great business model.
Mm-hmm.
So you put out a video, I think it was this week or last week, a live video talking about the monetization on it. And I'm going to put a link in this. You're going to have to send it to me as well as a bunch of links. Well done. Folks, watch this. If you really are trying to make a living on YouTube or any of the other streaming services, listen to what Dylan says, because it's pretty accurate. You know, some people have a different response than others and a different reaction from your audience. I mean, if you're a shock jock kind of person that goes out there, you know, a lot of this isn't relevant, because people only tune in to listen to what you say. Then you're not going to sell any products. You're not going to sell your services. They're just going to be there to laugh. You know, that's if that's your business model. If you're a comedian, go for it. But if you really want to dive in, you want to build a business relationship with someone. And I know it sounds silly because we're talking about guitar players and business doesn't fit in the mind, but it's true. You know, if you're going on tour and, you know, you spill a beer on your pickup. I mean, I'm notorious for that. When I play slide guitar, I got fat fingers. You know, I'm not a small dude, just under 6 foot, 260 pounds. A regular slide doesn't quite fit on this. I'm actually in the process of redesigning a slide with our sponsors, Novell. That's going to be something that's a little bit more wearable. It's going to be a little bit easier to take on and off, but give you the same tones that you want. But because of that, I break a beer bottle. You know, I give the show, I drink half the beer, I crack it. I know how to crack it and how to etch it beforehand. You got to etch it so it doesn't cut you. It's a game. You etch it, I smash it, the beer goes everywhere, it ruins, you know, my pickups. So at the end of a small tour, I'll need to be replacing them, you know, and the relationships I have with Dylan and with a few other pickup winders, that's what it's about. Like, yeah, man, I fucked up again. You know, I should listen to you. Don't play slide with a beer bottle. Well, you know what? The audience loves it. And that's just what I do. But there's a lot of insight out there for you. So let's just say there's a young person that wants to wind pickups now, or wants to build guitars, or just that follows you on YouTube, that's inspired by what you do, or follows you on social media. What advice do you have for them? Say if they just put up their first video, they got their 25 people that watched it. It's an exciting time, but it's not where they want to be.
I say you just keep going. You do, first of all, with all this YouTube stuff, you know, I've spent thousands of dollars on gear. And some days I just grab my iPhone and I make a video with my iPhone, and my audience doesn't care. Use the gear you have and start today. And when you see only 25 people watched it, that was 25 more than yesterday. Be on a growth pattern. Don't worry about just killing it. You know, I've been doing this for 6 years. This is going to sound, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but when we're looking at the scale of what YouTube is, I have 50,000 subscribers. I've been doing it for 6 years. Many people that have been doing it for as long as me have 200, 300,000 subscribers. Many people have 1 million, 2 million views a month. I have 5 million views total over 6 years. So I could be very discouraged by that. But what I have to do is zoom out and say, no, you know, because of this video, I got a phone call and I made one sale and I was able to pay this bill. I was able to meet this person. I was able to network with this other person. View it like that. Don't get so caught up in the numbers and keep going. All you have to do is get on a schedule that you can stay, you know, that you can sustain. Everybody's like, well, I'm going to make a video every day or every week or whatever it is. don't do that. Figure out something that you can actually sustain and a schedule that you can sustain, and put content out. Don't be lazy. Put content out to Instagram, put it out to TikTok, put it out to Facebook, put it out to YouTube, put it out to all the other places, and learn a little bit about those platforms, because I don't just make the same content and put it on all of them. They don't like the same content. So you have to figure that out. And I realized that I capture a little bit of audience from here and a little bit of audience from there and a little bit of audience from there. And over time, you put it together, and it starts to work. And I would be lying if I said I never worry about the numbers, because Leslie will point it quickly out to me that I'm like an analytics junkie. But if you worry more about your message and sharing whatever that is, whether it's your new song, whether it's, whatever it is, your art, in any other way you want to say that, concentrate on the quality of your message and look at how you can put it in front of as many people as possible, and do not cheap out by laziness saying, well, the last time I uploaded to Facebook, nobody watched it, because it's on there forever. I'll give you an example. We're 700 and something videos in. And just before this recording, I was looking through my analytics, and for the last 3 years, episode number 10 of all time. So 6 years ago, episode number 10 of 700 is always in the top 5 views. It's top 5 videos viewed every month on my channel.
What was
and
it?
It was 250K versus 500K pots in your guitar. And it was terrible. It's 16 minutes long. It's one of the first videos I've ever made. So it was very rambly and not well produced. It was with a little camera on it was in a whiteboard and a marker, it just was not that well done. But will be probably for the entire lifetime of my channel in the top 5 or the top 10 of my videos watched every month. And I will tell you that I know that as a result of that terrible video 6 years ago, I've literally made thousands of dollars, because somebody saw that video, then they went to my website and they bought a product. So you could discount what you did today because nobody watched it. Somebody will watch it or could watch it at any point in the future. So never discount anything you put out there because it's not performing up to your expectations today. Concentrate on the message, not the analytics. That is so hard to do. And I'm telling myself that just as much as I'm telling you that, but you have to do that. Quality of message, period.
Awesome. We're running up against the clock. We've only got a few minutes left, but I want to talk about my 2 favorite videos that you've done.
I'm out of tequila too, so we're definitely close.
Yeah, today's a weekday, and I'm trying to be a good boy, so I don't drink during the week anymore. But I sure as shit do on the weekends. Watch out. Yeah, I got too much work going on. I can't think straight with the booze. I could talk straight, but I got work to do later. The 2 favorite videos of mine that you've put up of all time are the guitar fence post.
Oh my gosh.
And
yeah.
Where you made a guitar out of a fence post and it was still attached to the fence.
It's still there.
It's great. It's still there. The guy that bought that house kept it there.
The guy that bought that house has a fence post with a Tele pickup routed out of it and a neck pocket at the top. It's still
awesome. There. That's awesome. Yeah. So Chet, we're going to leave that video in the bottom as well for you. And my other favorite one is the one that you did the review on that piece of shit that folded. That carbon Pro guitar. Oh, that was great. What did they say when they saw that video? Real quick, before we get into it, he was sent a guitar to review. And he's honest. We'll leave it at that. So tell everybody what you did with the guitar and then the people's response.
So it has become a little bit of a shtick for me. So I am a typical YouTuber in that sense, that if what you send me to review really sucks, I run it over with my truck. So
That's
we've
great.
done that with an acoustic guitar
Yeah.
in the past, and we've also did it recently with an aluminum guitar with a quote unquote 3D printed carbon fiber neck. And we put it on a set of railroad tracks, and I stepped on it and the neck bent in half, and then we ran over the body with a Jeep, and it was hilarious. They blocked me on Facebook.
I love that.
But
I love that.
referring to that video that we did, now that when you'll see this, it'll be last week, that live video about making money on YouTube and are we all just paid shills. I really value my reputation when it comes to you're not going to buy my opinion. If it sucks, it sucks, man. I don't know what to tell you. If it sucks, it sucks. But on the other hand, when we do reviews, I don't think everything sucks. I just think that not everything is for everybody. So I might think it sucks, but actually someone else, you have to understand what the market's doing and, all that kind of stuff. And, but when it sucks, it gets run over,
Yeah,
period.
it sucks, meaning they're putting out something, they're false advertising it.
Yeah.
Did they make you sign anything, cease and assist, or can we say
Nope.
the name of the company?
Yeah. Kolos Guitars.
Kolos Guitars, folks.
They're out of
Biggest
China.
piece
Yep.
of shit ever.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was hilarious
It was
watching this.
terrible.
Yeah, man. I really thought that it was going to snap up and break and hurt you. Like I was getting anxiety watching. I'm like, that's too far to bend the neck. It's too far. But no, it just bounced right back almost.
Yeah, it was like Rubbermaid. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
I was dying. Like I want
It's
one now.
terrible.
I really do. Yeah, like I want to have one and I want to make it into a dartboard. But that's
I might be able to make that happen, actually.
Oh shit. You still got it?
I have one. I have another one. They sent me two.
Oh
Yeah.
we should
They
have
sent me
so
two.
They sent you two guitars and you gave them, like you could have just said, dude, this sucks and don't go to YouTube. I so appreciate that you took it to the tubes and ran that shit over and then they blocked you. That's like a
Oh.
crazy ex-girlfriend type thing right there. I love that. Yeah. So folks, we're going to be wrapping up this episode. I'd like to thank you so much for stopping by. And just remember, if you screw up with your old lady or your significant other, go to novelglobal.com, contact the customer service people. We will make sure that you are getting the most expensive piece of jewelry that will cover your mistakes, because you can't go light. I mean, if you're walking around and you don't know why she or he is mad at you, call us. We'll figure it out. We're pros, and you'll be able to get the jewelry that'll make things right. So until next time, make sure you go to DylanTalksTone.com, go to GearGuysPodcast.com, check out Deco Entertainment and Novell Global. But until next time, folks, stop fucking with each other. Oh, I can't say fuck. I got to bleep the word fuck. That's going to be funny. Stop messing with each other's online. Respect each other as a community. Help community growth. Please come together. If someone has a question, don't belittle them. Be supportive, because art needs to be made. People are not making art like they used to because they're embarrassed to ask questions. Stand up, be a leader, take the responsibility for the community that you represent, and help each other. And Joe Bonamassa, stop buying all the cool guitars. I like them. Other guys like them. You got too many. Love what you do. Just back off a little bit, man. Leave some of the cool stuff for us. See you next time.